Oh, no matter what I do, I just can't beat the trial. I just can't do it. I queue with people, I can't win. I do it on my own, I can't win. I'm just not sure what to do. If this is you or you know someone like this, make sure to stick around to the end of this video because we're going to be talking about, is All-Star Tower Defense X too hard? Now, honestly, the only complaint I ever see about this game online, and even from myself personally, is that the game is too hard. So let's dive in and talk about everything and really break down if this game is that difficult. Okay, so first of all, we're going to break it piece by piece. First off, we're going to start with the summon, and we're just going to move around until we get to the newer end game stuff because, you know, that kind of makes sense for it to be last. So first we'll start off with the summons. And there is a decent understanding. I'm not sure if it would call it a fact because there may be ways, but it just seems difficult. But it is pretty difficult to get gems. It is not easy to get gems in this game. It takes quite a while. It is very difficult, to be honest. It's not a game where you can grind gems, right? Where a lot of other games you can. Even the daily challenges might give you enough for one multi-summon. Just doesn't really seem worth it. The weeklies as well might give you one or two. It is very difficult to get gems. However, the rates are pretty good. I mean, as you can see, I have a bunch of mythics, or 5 stars, I should say. I have a bunch of 5 stars, and I pulled a bunch as well. So the rates are honestly pretty good, but it is a little difficult to get gems. But again, not a big issue since the rates are so low. Next, we can talk about trait rerolls and stuff, and trait rerolls are a little bit difficult to get, but that obviously makes sense. I mean, if they were easier to get, they would be a little bit busted. But I don't know if it's just me. My luck on the trait rerolls has been terrible, so yeah, I wish they were a little bit easier to get because I can't get anything. Gold shop is the same in every game. Then we have the dungeon, which we can talk about. Now, the dungeon, I honestly hate this game mode. I think it's stupid. I believe it's a 2-hour cooldown, or like an hour cooldown. It's a lot. You have to wait a long time before you can do this, and now it's not that difficult, don't get me wrong, but why even have a time limit on it, and the unit's not even that good, so what really is the point? I just don't understand why you would lock a game mode behind a 2-hour window. Doesn't make much sense to me, but again, that's not really difficult, right? Like, if you load into a team and you get 4 people, and you just put 2 on each side, it's pretty easy. Next, we have the NPC Quests. Most of these are pretty easy, and for the most part, doable very early on, like, some of them are pretty difficult, like Sun Jin Woo. I pulled Sun Jin Woo early, and I couldn't evo him because it's very difficult. He's probably one of the hardest ones. But someone like Blackbeard was incredibly easy to evo right away. I didn't even have an evolved unit. He was the first unit I got. So some of them are easy, some of them are hard. Just depends which one you need. But next we have the story. Now the story mode in this game, unlike most games, is incredibly difficult. Without even going into hard mode, this can be pretty difficult by yourself, especially if you don't have an all-star unit. It is going to be incredibly difficult to do this on your own. Obviously, there's type effective units, like I believe purple are type effective in this, which I do wish that was a little more clear. I mean, I guess they do have that thing up there, so. But yeah, purple is the method for this, and it's still pretty difficult, I'm not going to lie. The story is not really easy. They start off at more than what my purple unit can do, which, yeah, I could probably max out at a little bit more, but it is still fairly difficult, even with people. There's been times where I've struggled when we've had 3 people doing this, so the story is difficult. And personally, I'm not a very big fan of that. I don't know if anybody else really likes that. I don't think the story should be difficult. I think it should be the only thing in the game that's not difficult. The challenges are easier than the story mode, which in my mind makes 0 sense. I don't understand that. But it should be the other, like, I don't know. The challenges should be way harder, and these should be way easier. The story should be pretty much anybody can do them, right? You shouldn't have to be playing and grinding the game to be able to catch up on the story, but it is what it is. I just think it's a little too difficult. Next, we have infinites, which infinites aren't really difficult, obviously, because you can go to any wave, right? The only thing is, I wish these void bags were a little more, like, consistent in terms of dropping, because, like, sometimes I'll go to wave 40 and get like 5, and sometimes I'll go to wave 40 and get like 11. I just wish they were a little more consistent on how many they drop, but not a difficult game mode, and honestly pretty good for grinding things like XP, so definitely not that bad. Next we have challenges, which I feel 50-50 on, because some of the challenges are really easy and some are just really stupid. Like Unsellable is really easy. Random units is so bad, because you could get good units, right? But I've had some where I didn't even get a 5-star, right? And then I can't do anything. And then I had one where I get 2 5-stars, but they're both buff units, so I still can't help. Yes, you can matchmake into them, but I've lost quite a lot of these on expert mode because of how bad the random units can be. Also, high cost is unbearable, but is high cost really bearable in any of these games? Not really. High cost is trash. But random units is also pretty bad. But then the other stuff's really easy, like unsellable units. That's so easy. And before we get into the new stuff, I suppose I'll talk about the AFK and the events. The AFK does not help at all. If you don't pull a mythic and you can't, well, you obviously won't be able to do the story if you can't pull a mythic. And you're like, hey, I need gems, but I don't know what to do. And you're like, let me go to AFK Chamber. It is not worth it. You get no gems from sitting in AFK. It is very, very bad for gems, and there's no reason to do it whatsoever. You could honestly go grind the infinite and probably get more gems than you would by doing this. It is very, very bad. This AFK Chamber is terrible, so it just makes things a little bit harder. It honestly shouldn't even exist. And I did kind of want to talk about the event before we go talk about the new stuff. This event thing is trash. This royal drops. I know this isn't hard or anything, like this doesn't affect gameplay or anything, but this game mode is just terrible. I just wish it was gone. Now we can talk about the hard stuff, the end game stuff, and the summer stuff. Now I would hop into a trial, but honestly I think it's easier to explain. With the trial, you have two different options. You have the options where you can use your traits, hidden potential, and all that, and you have the option where you can't. This is pretty much impossible, even if you get 4 people that know what they're doing. And the regular one is possible, but I don't know if it's really possible to solo. Maybe if you have All-Star Killua. The only 2 units that are even decent in this are Killua and Ulquiorra. So if you don't have those 2, then you probably can't do it even with matchmaking. But that's also kind of the problem in this game. Those 2 things, which I know you're like, well, what 2 things? I haven't really explained. But the fact that there's so limited options to do things, like to do this and actually help, you need to get Ulquiorra or Killua. Now, to be fair, they're not hard to get. But if you don't have them, or let's say you were evoing someone else, or let's say you were getting units up for Trial 2, you don't have them, it's going to be difficult. I also think it's boring where you just have to use like 1 or 2 units. Like, I wish you could use different teams, right? Like, it's not really fun to have to use the same units all the time as well. And the second option, which is, or the second problem, I should say, with this game, which is not just the trials, is matchmaking. Matchmaking in this game is terrible. I don't understand why. Not only does it take quite a while, even though there's definitely a lot of people in matchmaking, it is so bad. It's like it only matches you with people who don't know what they're doing. Now, if you ever played Anime Adventures, who added matchmaking very early on, there were similar problems, but at the same time, in that game, it was very easy to either do it mainly yourself, or even bad teammates could help. But in this, it is not really possible. You have one bad teammate and you can lose the entire thing. Like, trying to queue into this and getting competent teammates is horrible. It is a terrible experience. And then it's nearly impossible, if it even is possible, to solo it. No, it is possible. But you're going to need units like Kokoshibo, what's his name? Ulquiorra, Killua. I know there's some strats and macros you can use with like Aaron and stuff, but overall it is very difficult. If you just hop into this with your normal team, you're probably not going to win. You have to look up strategies to beat it, what some people like, but I don't like everything like that, especially like limited time events. The trials, I totally understand. I actually don't mind the trial being this difficult. I totally get it. But where I have an issue is where it comes up in the summer event. Because the summer event is the exact same, which, by the way, if you don't pull it off this 1%, because this mode's also almost impossible. If you don't pull it off that, you have to get 250 summer coins, and it is so ridiculously hard to get 250 summer coins. That will take forever, and this game mode's only out for 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks, and this is arguably harder than the trials. And you're going to need, again, green units. You're going to need Ulquiorra. You're going to need Killua, and maybe Kokoshibo and stuff like that. Like, you're going to need the unbound units because they're broken. So, right, you are going to need to get Death, which is hard and it's going to take a long time. But again, I don't mind that. But the fact that this is out for so little, like, time, like, it's not really out long at all, and it is so incredibly difficult. Like, if you're a new player, don't even, like, you're not going to be able to play this. I'm going to just be honest. You're most likely not going to be able to do this. And it sucks. It sucks for those new players. And I could understand hard events. Like I said, the trial, that makes sense for that to be difficult. But the fact this is here for 2 weeks and it is this difficult, I'll load into a game and we can see if we even win. But again, since the matchmaking's so bad, I'm probably going to get incompetent teammates like normal. Now it can go up to 6 in here, but what typically happens is people forget there's 2 paths. And typically what happens is 4 people end up setting up on one and 2 set up on the other, and you always lose. Now if you have 3 people on each, it's not that bad. But then again, if you go try to matchmake with a couple friends, right, so you can ensure you kind of split things up evenly, you can't matchmake with 3 or more people. So it also, the matchmaking kind of sucks on that department too. We should at least be able to matchmake with more people, right? Because if we have 3, then we can split it up evenly. We can see where everybody else goes, and then we can do that, right? So Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the matchmaking. As you can see, it takes forever. I've been talking this whole time, and we haven't even loaded into the matchmaking lobby yet. That's how long it takes. There's also plenty of times I've loaded in by myself. Matchmaking overall is just not very good in this game, I'm gonna be honest. But like I said, there's many issues with it. It's not just the fact it takes forever. It's not the fact that it sometimes breaks. It's the fact that matchmaking, look, you see that? This happens a lot too. It also disconnects you, so we'll have to try to matchmake again. It's just an issue with that, and again, my biggest thing is that it is so difficult and it is so limited. Like, it is going to take you forever to get Crocodile, and you only have 2 weeks. So unless if you have a group of friends who can solo it, because you cannot solo this by yourself, it is not possible. So you have to either matchmake or have a big group of friends who can do this, and that is very, very difficult. That is asking for a lot to do, and I think that is way too difficult. It's probably the only thing in the game I'm not really happy with. I think it sucks. I don't think it's good at all. Everything else being hard, there's workarounds to it, right? Like, you could matchmake into the story and beat that probably, and you can solo the story if you get the right units, but again, it makes it hard too, because if you don't have the right units, especially as a new player, most people who are trying games like this or playing this are not checking the tier list right away, right? Like, they just want to get units, a mythic to help them, but then the mythic they get to help them doesn't help them enough. They can't evo them, and then they can't pull the other ones, and the AFK Chamber doesn't give them enough gems. It is just a very long grind, which I understand why they're trying to do that, but then they also update every week. You know, make up your mind. If you're going to update every week, the grind cannot be this long, because how do you want us to grind for Crocodile, which is going to take most people more than a week to get them, and then you're going to have another update, like, either in the middle of that or as soon as it ends, like that. I don't know. It's a little bit difficult, I will say. But like I said, everything else I can get over. The story you can eventually beat. You can find people to help beat. It's pretty easy to do that. If you queue into the story, you should be able to beat it, and really you only need one certain type of unit. As long as you have one of each type, and again, I think matchmaking might actually just be broken right now, so I don't think I'm going to be able to show you guys, but typically when you load into this, people don't really know what they're doing, so yeah, and it's just broken. The matchmaking's broken. So overall, to kind of give a final, like, explanation of everything, summoning, I do wish you got more gems, especially, like, for new players. Now, where I'm at now, it's not hard to get gems, but I don't really need anything now, so that's why it doesn't matter. Like, it's only easy to get gems once you don't need them anymore, which I don't really like. And then the trigger rolls, I'm just getting unlucky, to be honest. I mean, they've gave more than enough. I'm just getting unlucky, so I'd want more, right? And then the infinites, the story's a little bit difficult, but like I said, it's pretty possible. And then the challenges, but the new stuff is terrible. And I realized I forgot to talk about something, which is the PvP, which is one of the hardest and dumbest game modes in this game. Now, if you look, here's what you can buy from the PvP stuff. So what you get from the PvP, I believe, are the gold. Or actually, we can check. In the arena, you go to rewards. Yeah, you get these gold coins, right? As you can see, you need elo for it. And then the seasonal rewards, you get these, which you got to play this a lot to get anything valuable out of that. Because, see, 90, yeah, it's ridiculous. So you get the gold coins. You can use this to get Edward Elric, who's in it, I believe. And yeah, but if you've actually played the PvP game mode, it is not really good. So you sit there and ban 4 units, then you pick your team. But you have these same units to select from, right? And they're both evolved with the same stats and everything. So the thing is, there is obviously units that are better than other units. And so what it comes down to, if everybody knows which units are good, it is the exact same. The only thing that will be different is what order you decide to upgrade in, which again, there's probably going to become a meta for that too. And then after that, it's going to be, oh, well, when are you choosing to buy units to send over there? It is pretty much just going to come down to the wire every single time, and they take a long time. It is like it's like 8 to 10 minutes, I should say. It can take anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes to complete one game. And by the way, if you lose, you get nothing. It's like literally nothing. It's such a complete waste of time, and so you have to win in pretty much a 50-50 game because both people are doing the same thing. It's a terrible game mode, and it's hard for no reason. And obviously we saw the matchmaking was broken, so to end it off, talking about over here, the new summer event. The summer event is ridiculously hard. The trials are very hard, but they're not going away, at least as far as I know. So those being difficult are fine. You work your way up to it. That's totally fine. But a limited event that is going away very quickly, that's not good. Like, we have 8 days left, and I have 21 points. I've been able to complete it twice. Like, it's not good. It's a very, very difficult event. Now, I get my units aren't the best, right? but that's not the reason. You need 6 competent people, and with how bad the matchmaking is and how often it breaks, where you don't even get in a lobby with 6 people, it's so difficult. And the fact you can't matchmake with 3 or more friends is also ridiculous. It's just very hard. It's very hard to get this done because you need to matchmake into a lobby with 6 people, which is probably the hardest thing, because half the time people don't load in or disconnect some like you saw with me, or there's many issues. So you pretty much need 6 people, because if not, you'll die on the starting waves. Even if everybody had all-star Okiora, I'm not sure if it would even be possible, just because of how many enemies there are at the start. You're going to need 3 people on each side. So you need 6 people who kind of know what they're doing, and again, with the matchmaking, anybody can matchmake. So I'm going to matchmake with a lot of people who are doing it for the first time, or a lot of people who have failed every time they've done it because they don't know what to do, and then you're just going to lose. So that game mode is incredibly hard for no reason. And I know they said they've had a poll up saying, is it too hard? Do we need to nerf it? And everybody said yes, and I still don't believe they nerfed it. At least if they did, it had to be recently, and because I was playing it, I think yesterday, and it was still just as difficult. It was the exact same. So yeah, people voted to nerf it, and it hasn't really been nerfed yet. With that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the summer ends. I also have my Discord in the description. When we hit 50 members, we're going to be doing a viewer video at my Twitch and second channel down there as well. And a little disclaimer, I do like this game. I do think it is a little bit difficult though. But with that being said, hope you had an amazing day. Thank you for watching.